everyone, welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be ranking and reviewing all of Karen M. McManus's books. So these are all the books that she has out so far. I just finished my last Karen M. McManus book last night. So we have One of Us is Lying, One of Us is Next, The Cousins, You'll Be the Death of Me, and Two Can Keep a Secret. So the first book I read was One of Us is Lying. This book mostly follows 4 high school students. All of her books are YA, by the way. So in this book we have Bronwyn, Addie, Nate, and Cooper, and then there's a 5th student named Simon who ends up dying. So what happens is all 5 students are put into detention, and during detention the teacher witnesses a car accident in the parking lot and runs out to make sure all the students are okay. While that's happening, Simon dies, and because there was no teacher present, the rest of the students have to pretty much defend themselves, saying, well, it wasn't me, and now I can't trust all these other people. And so we go back and forth between the 4 perspectives. We have Bronwyn, who's the brains, Cooper, the athlete, we have Addie, who's Miss Popular and the beauty, and then we have Nate, who is kind of a bad kid. And I'm just saying, Nate was my favorite. Anyways, so throughout the book we read the different perspectives, we figure out what actually happened, and this by far was like the biggest plot twist I think so far. This was a really good book. I did enjoy this one. So One of Us is Lying, I gave 4 stars. Next, I read One of Us is Next. This is the sequel to One of Us is Lying. I could have done without this book. I felt like One of Us is Lying was good enough to be a standalone. So this book I felt was kind of unnecessary. This book doesn't even follow the same people. It follows Bronwyn's sister, I believe. Bronwyn's sister, Maeve, her friend Phoebe, and then Knox. But basically this one's just saying that there's a copycat of how Simon died. There's a copycat in this book, and this book didn't really stick with me. I don't really remember much of what happened. I did give this book a 3.5 because it was very plot twisty, but I felt like it could have been without. There is a 3rd book coming out next year in 2023. I don't remember at the moment off the top of my head what it was called, but I'm still gonna read it. And then Karen M. McManus also has a book coming out later this year as well. But this book basically, there is a website or app of gossip at the school, and it knows secrets that nobody else knows, and it's truth or dare. So they'll text you and they'll ask you truth or dare, and then you have so much time to respond, and then if you don't, then a gossip or not even a rumor because it's true, something that nobody knows, like a deep secret about the person that didn't respond, is spread. And the concept is really good. I just felt like it didn't have to be part of One of Us is Lying. It could have had like its whole own book and been a standalone. This one I rated 3.5 stars. Then we have The Cousins, and this book basically follows 3 cousins, Millie, Aubrey, and Jonah, and they go to their grandmother's house, and she lives on like a resort type property where people stay, and she hires people to essentially like run this vacation lodge, whatever, island resort, if you will. And the thing is that these 3 cousins, they don't really know each other, they don't really know their grandmother, so weird stuff starts to happen. I just felt like this book really flopped. It was kind of boring, super weird, like the cousins start kissing, and I don't know, it was really weird. I gave it 3 stars. Not really my cup of tea on this one. Next is You'll Be the Death of Me. This is her newest release. This book follows 3 high school students named Cal, Mateo, and Ivy, and they were best friends growing up, and then throughout the years they kind of just drifted apart and just became acquaintances. And on this particular day, they all 3 run into each other before school starts and decide to skip school together. But while they're skipping school, another student that also goes to that school is skipping, not with them though. They end up seeing him out and about, and they decide to follow him where they witness him get murdered. And because he wasn't at school and these 3 students aren't at school, they become like the prime suspects, because there was a witness seen who happens to match one of the students' descriptions, and it had a lot of potential. It just kind of flopped for me, so this one I also gave 3 stars. 2 Can Keep a Secret. I have not talked about this one because, like I said, I finished it last night, so it'll be in my monthly wrap up. But this book was so plot twisty. There was so many characters that it was hard to remember how they were correlated with each other or related to each other, or however you want to call that. But it was hard to put each character into a place without having to physically write it down. Like, this person's related to this person, and this person's best friend with this person, and this person's mom, and it was just really hard to keep up with. This book I gave 3.5 stars, but this book follows 2 twins. Actually, I think that's incorrect way to say it. It follows a set of twins, and their names are Ellery and Ezra. And Ellery and Ezra transfer to a new school senior year because they had to move in with their grandmother because their mom is in rehab. And they move to a town that's really small but kind of creepy because people go missing, people end up dead really frequently. The first person that goes missing is their aunt. So Ellery and Ezra's mom was a twin. Their mom's name is Sadie, and they call her Sadie in this book. They don't call her mom. And Sadie had a twin sister named Sarah. And all of a sudden, Sarah goes missing and is never found. And then I think like 17 years later, or 5 years before Ellery and Ezra, I can't exactly remember because, like I said, there's so many things happening in this book that it got so confusing and really hard to follow at times. But another student ends up being killed, and they never found out who killed her. They only had suspects, and so it was kind of like, it was a cold case. They don't know who did it. And then the year that Ellery and Ezra get there, another student goes missing. And well, the day that Ellery and Ezra get there, there is a man that's just dead in the road, covered in blood. They don't understand what happened. And then a couple weeks after that, a student goes missing, and then they end up finding her body. She was killed. And just like the student prior named Lacey that was killed and they didn't know who did it, they didn't know who killed this student. I'm not going to say her name just in case it's a spoiler. Anyways, so this whole book is spent pretty much figuring out who killed this student that just died, and then it kind of correlates to who killed the student before named Lacey, and it even kind of correlates a little with their missing aunt Sarah. And this book, it was there for how much there was going on, that made it a really good book. I just wish that it wasn't so hard to follow and there weren't so many characters. So because of that, I gave this 3.5 stars. I am so sorry. This video was like all over the place. I haven't done a ranking and reviewing video in quite a while, and the last one I did was Raelee Sager, and I enjoyed all of his books, whereas these ones, some of them I didn't enjoy, some of them I enjoyed more than others. None of them are 5 stars, so I'm just kind of feeling meh about most of these books, but I definitely wanted to make a video like this. So I apologize for the video being all over the place. Okay, so now putting them in least favorite to favorite order. Least favorite is definitely The Cousins. This book was just really freaking weird. When I posted my review on my Instagram, actually I don't think it was this one, I posted a review of one of her books. I don't remember which book it is. I think it's You'll Be the Death of Me, but someone commented on it and said that that book was not as bad as The Cousins because The Cousins was awful. I don't want to say it was awful because I gave it 3 stars, and so it definitely wasn't terrible. It was just weird, and I felt like I could have done without when reading it. Next, I'm going to say You'll Be the Death of Me is number 4. I also gave this one 3 stars, but I felt like it was superior to The Cousins. 4th place for this one. Then I'm going to say One of Us is next. If this was a standalone and didn't correlate with One of Us is Lying, it definitely would have been better, but I just felt this book was just meh, so this book is 3rd. 2 Can Keep a Secret is number 2. As mentioned, it wasn't terrible. I just felt it would have been a lot better if it was easier to follow. And then 1st is One of Us is Lying. This book was really good. I did try to watch the show on Peacock. I don't have Peacock, so I watched however many episodes it gives you for free. I was gonna watch those, but I just couldn't get into the show. So the book is definitely better than the show. So this is my number 1 top Karen M. McManus book. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. Please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe and turn on post notifications to be notified every time I upload. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye.